Hello, I'm Adam.
And I'm Gina.
We're here to talk today about a very important issue lately, which is minimum wage. And since 2013, President Barack Obama has been trying to raise the minimum wage, along with some Democrats, to $10.10 an hour. And that is really controversial lately because Republicans are saying that that's not going to help out anything because more companies are going to be selective about who they hire, and also they're going to raise their prices of goods. So pretty much the more money you make, you're going to spend more. Well, the Democrats are saying, well, no, you're going to have more money, so you're going to have more ability to spend around. But that's very controversial. And so far, 13 states, including District of Columbia, have raised their minimum wage, and Barack Obama is trying to have states and local governments and authorities raise it already before waiting for the federal Congress to act on it. And my first source that I used to look up information was a book. It was actually an ebook called A Year of Action, Progress Report on Raising Minimum Wage. And the executive office of the president actually wrote this. And it had a lot of strengths and a lot of weaknesses. The strengths were very good because this provided a lot of statistics for it. And it shows how raising the minimum wage would affect people, not only people, but also businesses, the government, and all that. So it's not just focusing on one group. It's giving a big overview of everything. But the weaknesses was that it was from the office of the president, so to not show the other side, the counter argument as well. So it's pretty much very biased in that way. And it was all pro minimum wage and no anti minimum wage. So it was hard to find a good valid statistic against this. So in that way, I feel like I should have picked a better book apart from this to have more cons. And also, it was only 12 pages in length, so I feel like it could have been longer and get more information from it. And I'm going to hand it over to Gina now.
Okay, so we researched 2 articles. So the first one was from USA Today, and USA Today has a bias on it that they are neutral, but they do lean towards being liberal. The author who wrote this article was Ralph Nader, and he was liberal in his arguments. The strength of his arguments was that he used a lot of bullet points, so they were very clear and concise for readers. All of his arguments were counter-arguments. So he used the parallel structures by saying spin masters for every argument. For example, he said, spin masters argue that a minimum wage increase will raise prices in a way that will hurt people, but raising the minimum wage will not cause a big jump in prices. He does this for every argument that he states, and he says spin masters every time. A weakness that this article has is that Ralph Nader is writing a book, but it does not state any of his other credentials. So anybody could write a book and get a book published, but it takes somebody who actually has credentials to make a good book that can actually be useful. And the other article we researched was a general article, and it basically said background information, and it was strictly informative. It had no argument in it, and the strength was that it included a poverty rates chart, but it did have a weakness that it focused on strictly alleviating poverty, and it does not mention about jobs or the raise of prices if the minimum wage were to be increased. Its bias is that the article is devoted towards affordable housing and community development, since the article is from a housing and community development site, which can be very liberal. And that's it for CMN
111 News, Minimum Wage Edition. Thank you.